Good afternoon, ladies and gents. How is everybody? First, I wonder who's lost a parrot. Out for a ride again. Every other day ride. I'll just slow down a little bit. Don't want to get to the end of the road. But yeah, so I think everyone's heard the news. Yeah, Boris Johnson. He's been totally he's been taken to hospital last night, and with regards to the whole coronavirus thing, which is really is something else really. And no one expected it. If the most powerful man in Britain can be taken down like that, then you know this is a serious thing. It's not considered as a flu, some sort of extreme type of pneumonia really. So yeah, that's really something to think about. Really focuses the mind really. We're halfway through the third week of lockdown. The streets are just dead. People are still flouting the rules, riding around together. You can tell they're obviously not brothers or from the same family. Yeah, the thing's an absolute joke. I'm glad I've got my setup sorted out on my bike again. God damn it, that was an awful ride the other day. That was an awful ride. Hopefully today should be slightly better. But yeah, as I said, coronavirus grips the nation. That's what's going on in a minute. No other news really besides it. It's just dominating. Who would have thought, thinking back, 3 or 4 months ago, that this would have been, that the country would have been brought to its knees like this. Is absolutely something else really. But as I said, we all got to wait and see. You look and see the roads behind me absolutely empty. The odd car. Is it a full-blown summer day? Well, it's the start of summer, definitely. There's something definitely going on here. But see, these two homeboys don't look like they're from the same family. Look at that. They're out for a jolly ride in the afternoon. People are flouting the rules basically. So even these rides might be brought to an end if people continue to carry on the way they are. It's very unfortunate. Can you imagine a total lockdown? We're a nation of libertarians, man. Can't imagine us to be totally locked down. But we'll have to wait and see. Over and out. Hello again. I just want to show you the lack of physical social distancing that's going on. Have a look. This is my beloved Ealing Road. Look how many people walking up the high road, getting off that bus. Social distancing. I mean, do people even look related to one another from the same household? Outside my beloved masjid again. I mean, where do I start? Honestly, I cannot believe how, I just want to rest my GoPro somewhere. My arm's so tired, I'll rest it somewhere. But again, look, there's nothing really going on. There's nothing really going on whatsoever. In terms of social distancing, I think this might be a good little spot to rest a GoPro. In terms of social distancing, no one's listening, literally. I rode past a park, Barham Park. There are families out, people who are out with dogs. There's a guy sunbathing, literally sunbathing, on his own, chilled out on the grass, sunbathing. There are a lot more cars out today. The amount of cars that are out today, it's unbelievable. Let's go back 3 or 4 days ago. There were less cars passing me when I was out cycling. Now it's like a quiet Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon. So many cars passing me. Just have a look. Oh look, just bloody rows and rows of them. Rows and rows of cars. Rows and rows of cars just passing me. One of my mates. But yeah, it's an absolute joke. People aren't really serious about social distancing. It started off with a Twitter feed last week, I think. Archway and Archway train tube station. People just coming off in hordes off one tube onto the platform and then onto another tube, shoulder to shoulder. No physical distancing. No 2 meters apart. No 3 meters apart. Absolute crap. Honestly, really, it's a goddamn joke. London ain't taking this seriously. We seriously need to do an Italy thing, where just lock down the whole damn country, lock it down for the safety of the people. We're 6,000 deaths plus today. 6,000 deaths plus, and no one ain't giving a crap. Really, no one ain't giving a crap. Honestly, really. You got your food outlets open, really and truly, that's fine, but people are just hanging outside there like it's a, you know, like it's a Spanish, you know, like it's Mallorca late in the afternoon. People are waking up from their siesta. Look, 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 look. Just have a look. Check that out, look. You know, loads of cars out, loads of activity out. I mean, these are blatant non-essential stuff going on, blatant non-essential stuff going on. No one looks like they're coming back from any sort of work. Just busy. You can even hear the traffic around me, just busy, busy, busy. People just do not give a flip. God forbid, you know, the whole masjid thing. We've got a massive group of brothers. A lot of them are elderly gentlemen. These idiots and arseholes walking around today, God forbid, these twats walking around today are going to spread corona. And I don't want, you know, anything to befall any of my sweet brothers who are part of the massive group that make up the support in terms of getting our masjid back. But again, as you can see, this is a masjid that they had me banned from. Infamous incident that they had no evidence for. Oh, case of mistaken identity, that's what it was. That's what it was, case of mistaken identity. We were the wrong chaps, apparently. Yeah, we were the wrong chaps. Really, okay. Pointed out by 3 people, we were the wrong chaps. Pointed out by 3 people. I'm slightly deviating now. But going back to this whole social distancing nonsense, no one really gives a crap. Literally no one just cares. No one cares. No one cares. Look at her, look. I'm having to move towards a fence to get the hell away from her. And I'm just trying to prove a point here. That's all I'm trying to do. Just trying to prove a point. And you guys can see yourself, there is an advantage. Look at those guys there, look. Do those homeboys look like the one in the red shirt and the one next to him? I mean, look at it, just coming in and out of shops, look. Do they even look like they're going to distance from one another by 2 meters? Shoulder to no one with it. I mean, look, roll around with your girlfriend, why don't you chill? Yeah, that's it, just chill out. It looks like there's a real essential trip going on there. And look at this, why is she even out on a scooter? Why is she even out on a mobility scooter? One may ask her, look, why? Why? So just, yeah, life is going on. London is not serious. We need to start Italy measures, Austria measures, lock down the entire country. Look what France are doing. Yeah, it might spoil it for me. I don't care if the cycle rides have to stop. If physical activity once a day has to stop, then so be it. I really don't care. Honestly, I really don't care. But this just has to stop. It can't carry on like it's carrying on. It just cannot. And one thing that they could do is start the azan again in the masjid. Even though it's closed, come down and do the azan. One person on their own. It doesn't require 4 or 5 people. The other thing is just to tidy up. Give it a sweep down. For God's sake, just give it a sweep. Come on, make it look presentable. This is a thing with this committee. This is a thing with it. But alhamdulillah, I'm going to get out. I'm going to finish the rest of the vlog off at home in my man cave. Really, really tired. It's been a very, very good ride today. It's been a nice ride today. I have enjoyed the ride. But yeah, just a lot more busier. I think that Dominic Raab, he's taken over from Boris Johnson at the minute. He's deputising for Boris Johnson. I think that Dominic Raab is just basically going to. He sounds quite serious. He's basically just going to shut the place down. He's just going to shut it down. He's just going to say, if people don't listen, then so be it. I've got my chief scientific officer, my chief medical officer, Whitty, and Ian Vallen's homeboy. Just shut the damn place down, man. Shut it down. If it means I've got what do you call it? I've got to miss out on physical activity, then so be it. The deaths are rising. We've had like 700 plus deaths today. 754, I think the number was approximately. Yeah, circa 754. I mean, really, man, really. London's got to come to terms with. It's not serious. Yes, we're libertarians, but Boris Johnson's out. The 3 people who are advising him medically also went out. A lot of his, top ministers are out. His cabinet's out with coronavirus, man. This thing is taking fit people, for God's sake. My biggest worry is if I don't keep this activity up, God forbid, something may even happen to me. But as I said, it's an absolute travesty that people just do not care. They just walk. Look, have a look. Another look. Look at these homeboys. Look at the shop on the corner. Look at the amount of cars coming out of the junction. There's another homeboy who's just like walking around like he's wake up from a siesta, Mallorca, 4:30 in the afternoon. Shops are starting to open up. Let's start getting busy with activity and business. I mean, just check out a goddamn joke, absolute joke. Like infrequent trips to the shops to get food. I think they mean like twice a week or once a week. You just don't go out when you're short of milk or bread. For fuck's fuck's sake. I mean, come on. It's not a care in the world. No. That's it, yeah. Take your time, mate. That's it, there we go. Take your time. Chill out. Not a care in the world. Look at these homeboys coming out of no entries, man. There's so much law breaking going on. I mean, I could have been taken out so many points today. But yeah, no one seems to care. No one seems to care. I mean, the buses are just relatively empty. Look, have a look. Buses are relatively empty. No one seems to give a flying hoot. Look. Empty bus. But London has to start taking it seriously. What's it going to take? And this plateauing of the curve that they're talking about, I don't even know if it's going to happen. I don't even know this. We're just going to keep on rising. In fact, Spain and London, the numbers yesterday dropped. Today they rised again. This evening they've risen again, the numbers. So what does that tell you? You know, and what's happening over in America? I mean, you know, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man. Yeah. So I'm over and out. Let me get out of Raga before I end up getting arrested. So back once again in my man cave. Yeah, so to give you guys a coronavirus update, I know I had a bit of a rant about it before, but rightly so. Wow, it's like, you know, I mean, Facebook's got this lovely thing set up, which is a coronavirus information center on Facebook. That's kind of really cool. That is. But yeah, again, Boris Johnson's in hospital. Okay, he was admitted yesterday. They're only giving him oxygen, so there's no signs of pneumonia. I wish that guy, even though I'm not a conservative supporter, I wish that guy, regardless of your political affiliation, I wish that guy the best of recoveries and a quick recovery, because we need our Prime Minister back. When the top man in Britain goes down, and his top 3 advisors end up with it as well. And look at Professor Chris Whitty. Have a look at him. The guy looks like he's been through hell. I mean, there's people on radio who are like epidemiologists, major researchers in this, people on like emergency wards and stuff, and they feel like they've been hit with a baseball bat, literally. Again, there's 1.3 billion cases confirmed around the globe. Regretfully, of those 75,000, 80,000, 76,000 are approximately deaths. We've got 51,000 cases in the UK, 51,608. Of those that regretfully lost their lives are 5,373. So basically, yeah, Boris Johnson's in intensive care at St Thomas's. You know, we've got the top nurses, the top physicians taking care of him. You know, he's receiving oxygen treatment. He's not on a ventilator, officials are saying. Michael Gove this afternoon got taken in. He's self-isolating with his family members. He's starting to show signs of Covid-19 symptoms. A volunteer army, more than 750,000 people signed up. I don't want to sound like BBC News 24, Sky News. Yeah, this thing is really affecting lots and lots of people. But again, people are just not taking the advice. It's quite as simple as out there. Stay at home. You know, stay safe and keep the NHS safe. But people just don't seem to give a hoot. They're just out there. There's so many more cars out there today. It was like I was riding around on, like, if you take a day off and you decide to go out for a ride in the afternoon, it's like exact same volume of cars out there. You might say that's a bit of an exaggeration, but there were a lot of cars passing. It was like people are just out there. I think, again, that things are going to have to change. You can't just carry on doing this. You're using the excuse of that I have an essential job to do and get rid of this dirty America, for that matter. I mean, just in New York alone, that's a real epicenter of this thing. New York. I mean, in New York City, not in New York State, in New York City, the amount of deaths that have taken place there, it's just like, it's astronomical with regards to everything else that's happening over in the USA. It's a real epicenter. I mean, this coronavirus has, you know, is drawn towards like massive conurbations of population. Really, I'm so glad I've got places to rest my arm. I'm just really feeling it. Stay at home, save lives, guys. That's what the message is. You know, who knows when this thing will be over? Who knows when this thing will be over? you know, France is not allowing any exercising during what do you call it? They're not allowing anyone to exercise during daytime hours. Italy and Spain, their numbers, well, their numbers have gone down. Spanish numbers have gone up. Now they're saying people don't take into regard the lag effect when you produce these statistics at the end of every evening for example, for the UK, because there's a slower monitoring and recording system in Scotland. That's why the numbers have spiked, if I'm correct in thinking that. Oh God, but yeah, it's just really just really crazy news. Tech companies like WhatsApp, YouTube are taking down fake news stuff. Basically, yeah, they're taking it down, rightly so. It's just causing a lot of hysteria and panic out there. Just any sort of rubbish news, they're just pulling it down. Basically, WhatsApp puts tight curbs on frequent forwards. Okay, so WhatsApp have put heavy restrictions on forwarded messages to try to stop the spread of coronavirus and misinformation. Okay, you know, so what WhatsApp deems frequently forwarded messages, okay, can only now be forwarded to one chat at a time. So where messages are doing the round, and WhatsApp deems them as misinformation or fake news, it will stop it. It's not the first time that it's clamped down. Remember back in 2018, it put a limit on forwarding to 5 chat groups at a time in India. And the reason for this why is like bizarre, okay? But it's a fact. Okay, after a number of killings by mobs based on false information forwarded on by WhatsApp groups. So yeah, people were taking the law into their own hands based on sort of like this sort of information. And this change was rolled out in the last 6 months, in last January. But yeah, it's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. I mean, you know, there's another bit of comical. I won't want to say comical. There's not really time to make light or comedy of anything at the minute. Sweden warns thousands will die as officials refuse to order coronavirus lockdown. Okay. Okay, so the Swedish Prime Minister Stefan Löfven has warned that the country has to be prepared for thousands of deaths after more than 2,000 doctors and academics criticise the laissez-faire approach to the pandemic. So yeah, I mean, there's just chilling out going on in freedom. So he's warned that we could face thousands of deaths. Sorry, they're not taking the pandemic seriously. So you've got a London type issue going on here. Yes, the country is in a form of a semi-lockdown, but I mean, there's too many people out there, there's too many cars out there, just indicating the amount of movement happening outside on the roads. They've got a death toll of 401, and they've got 6,830 cases confirmed in Sweden. So you know, they're just not really bothered. Apparently, they've got a mitigation strategy, which and this strategy permits life to carry on with a degree of normality for most of the population, while the vulnerable and the most affected are urged to stay at home. Oh my God, man, for real. Bars, restaurants, coffee shops, offices, galleries across the country remain open. Look at Sweden, man. Oh my God. Sweden is just So the Swedish Foreign Minister stressed that the public must trust the key element of Sweden's strategy. And they're stating that the Swedes are individually responsible to slow the spread of the disease. Oh really? Oh really? So I don't know which. Right. So this is oh God. If I could just, can I just open this picture up? So this is a busy street in Stockholm. Check it out. That's a street in Stockholm. I don't know when that photo was taken, very, very recently, but that's what they're doing. Is there physical distancing going on there? You guys tell me. So that's over and out. That's the coronavirus rant done for today. I shouldn't really say that. It's not a comical situation. Lives are being lost here, for God's sake. Lives are being lost.